Is it safe to travel to Sri Lanka right now? I know you've been wondering about that question, and that's probably why you're watching this video, because you may have seen on the news that there are some travel advisories, travel bans about Sri Lanka. It all started with the US Embassy in Colombo putting out a travel alert on the 23rd of October. It specifically said avoid travel to Arugam Bay due to a credible threat. Of course, alarmed by this, many of the other nations they put out travel advisories against Sri Lanka. I think UK, which copied the same message from the Sri Lankan US embassy website, which instead of saying the UK nationals, they just copy pasted the whole US nationals itself, and even Australians. They were alarmed of this through the smart traveler updates to be very cautious about travel to Sri Lanka. And we actually found out a lot about this in the coming days, the days following this alert. And there was a credible threat, but that is only in Arugam Bay. And that is mainly because of some illegal Israeli operations happening because of they wanted to put up their own Israeli establishment, and then there was some tensions between the Muslims in the area because Arugam Bay is a very small town in the east coast of Sri Lanka, and the known, I mean, the security forces, the defense ministry, they everybody knew about this threat. And for this purpose, there have been military and safety regulations in Arugam Bay for almost a week before. So even though this was not shown on the news much, because this was just like a precaution. Every country in the world has a precaution when there is a credible threat, right? So this ensures the safety of all the travelers. So this is what Sri Lanka did too. When then, let's say somebody jails a bomb on a plane, or then they have like a credible threat against a bomb, people tighten up the airport security, right? But just because of that, people don't say don't go to this airport. People still travel, but they have a heightened security measure. Just like this, even for Arugam Bay, since weeks before, there were military personnel checking every movements of people traveling, and if there is any credible threats, what's happening. And because of this, there was a big showdown of Sri Lanka again on the news, saying that it's not safe to travel, people should avoid staying in Sri Lanka, people should fly out of Sri Lanka, all because of this US embassy's alert. But on the 28th, the US ambassador to Sri Lanka, Miss Julie Chang, she said that there is no travel ban to Sri Lanka. The only message they wanted to say was be careful of Arugam Bay. In her words, there is no travel ban on Sri Lanka. Our security alert last week is for Americans to avoid Arugam Bay until further notice. But our overall travel advisory for Sri Lanka remains exactly same at level 2, which has been for so many years. She also said that the level 2 security alert is already applied for countries like Maldives, France, Italy. So this means that Sri Lankan safety for all the nationalities, I mean, starting from the Americans, because they are the first to push out this notice, and following that is also the same level of security for the people who are traveling to France, for the people who are traveling to Maldives, and even Italy. So does that mean that it is unsafe to travel to Sri Lanka? Well, I am recording this in Colombo, in Sri Lanka. And for the past week, starting from 23rd onwards, we have not seen any military assignments or security lockdowns or terror attacks, anything like that. Sri Lanka is safe as it was even the months before. People from Marugambe, some got scared, they flocked to other areas like Veligama, Ella, Nuarelia, throughout the country. But you could have seen on the news that the travelers who are already here, they are saying that the forces are taking very good care of them, that they feel safe to travel in Sri Lanka because no itinerary is being changed, no roadblocks, No people got, you know, stuck with their travel programs, nothing like that. People traveled Sri Lanka just as they planned. Even we had arrivals coming to Sri Lanka, and our clients are enjoying Sri Lanka as much as they want to. They are planning on visiting all the places that they have seen on their Instagram feeds, their Facebook videos, everything. So Sri Lanka is not on travel bans. It is pretty much safe to travel to Sri Lanka. People do travel to Sri Lanka. The hotels are secure, the roads are secure, the bomb alert, the security threat, the military is checking on that. They have even arrested a few individuals who were planning on something. So just as there is a threat, it doesn't mean that there is a travel ban. The threat has been neutralized, so it is pretty much safe to travel Sri Lanka. And this is what we want you to do. Travel to Sri Lanka, enjoy Sri Lanka, because the best months to visit Sri Lanka are just starting from November. So we'll see you in Sri Lanka.